step brings you closer to the unknown. In the dense woods of Hollow Creek, shadows don't just follow you, they wait. Night at Hollow Creek, when sleep became a silent death. Part 1, The House on Miller Road. Samantha Greene had always chased silence. A horror fiction writer from Boston, she'd grown tired of the city's chaos when she inherited her late aunt's old Victorian house on Miller Road. Just outside Hollow Creek, she took it as a sign. The house, tucked deep within towering pines, looked like a picture frozen in time. Faded green siding, arched windows, and a rusted iron gate that creaked with the wind. The locals had always whispered about the house. They said it never stayed occupied for more than a few months. Some claimed the forest around it swallowed sound. Others said the walls inside whispered when you were alone. Samantha dismissed the tailies. Superstition sells books, she thought, but it doesn't haunt houses. She arrived on a cloudy Monday afternoon. Her black SUV crunched gravel as it rolled into the overgrown driveway. The air felt heavier here. As she unlocked the front door, it swung open too easily, almost as if the house had been waiting. Inside, it smelled of cedarwood and old pages. Dust lined the bookshelves and the wooden floors creaked beneath her boots. She spent the day setting up her writing space in the study, overlooking the trees. That night, the silence was unnerving. No owl hoots, no distant traffic, just stillness at 2:47 a.m. Samantha awoke with a start. She hadn't heard anything exactly, but something had stirred her. She sat up, ears straining. Then, barely audible, a whisper, "Sam." She froze. It wasn't the wind. It wasn't a dream. It was her name, faint, drawn out, coming from the end of the hallway. Her flashlight flickered as she got out of bed. She stepped into the corridor. The house was quiet again, the whisper gone. But just before returning to bed, she noticed a door at the far end, one she hadn't seen during the day. It was slightly open. Part 2, Footsteps in the ceiling. The door at the end of the hallway led to a narrow storage room with shelves full of dusty, unused items. Nothing unusual at first glance. Samantha explored briefly, made a mental note to clear it later, and returned to bed. Sleep, however, remained elusive. The next night, as rain tapped gently against the windows, she heard something new, footsteps above her ceiling. Not the random creaks of an old house. These were rhythmic, deliberate, moving from one side to another directly over her head. She turned on the bedside lamp. Silence returned. With cautious steps, she walked through the hallway again and looked up at the ceiling. There was a square outline faintly visible and an attic hatch. Curious but cautious, Samantha found a folding ladder in the hallway closet and climbed up. The hatch resisted at first, but then gave way with a dusty groan. She peeked inside. Only darkness stared back. A cold, dry wind brushed past her face, though no window was open. She aimed her flashlight inside. Dust swirled in the beam like ash, boxes, old furniture, a child's rocking horse. No signs of anyone. Just as she began to descend, the hatch creaked behind her. The door began to close. She quickly pulled herself down and stepped back. The attic hatch closed itself completely. She didn't sleep that night, and the next morning she found something disturbing. Dusty footprints, adult-sized, led from her bedroom to the base of the attic hatch, bare feet. Part 3, The Mirror's Reflection. 3 days in, Samantha decided to decorate. She retrieved an antique mirror her aunt had left behind, framed in worn bronze, and hung it in the hallway. It was heavier than it looked. As she stepped back to admire it, she noticed something strange. Her reflection was delayed just slightly, by a second. She tested it, moved her arm, blinked. The reflection copied her, always half a beat late. That night, as she walked past the mirror again, she caught something else. Another figure, behind her, faint, gray, unmoving. She spun around, no one. Her heart thundered. When she turned back to the mirror, the second figure was gone. Only her pale face stared back. The next night, she passed the mirror again at 2:47 a.m. Almost unwillingly, her reflection stood still, but her body hadn't. She walked. It didn't. It stared. Slowly, it smiled. She did not. Samantha stumbled backward, crashing into the wall. The lights flickered. The mirror fogged up briefly, and words appeared as though traced by an unseen finger. "Don't look back." She ran to her room and locked the door. Part 4, The Locked Attic. Despite her fear, curiosity pushed Samantha to investigate the attic in daylight. She climbed up again, stepping inside with a lantern. The space was cold still and smelled of mildew and forgotten things. But something felt off the temperature. It dropped sharply in the far left corner. She approached and found an old trunk. Inside were faded photographs, people with eyes scratched out. One woman looked familiar. It was her aunt, but younger. A note was tucked beneath the frame. We tried to trap it here. Trap what? The floorboards near the trunk creaked unnaturally. Samantha knelt and pressed her hand against them. Hollow, she pried them up and uncovered a smaller, square door locked with rusted chains. The hatch beneath the attic. She didn't open it. That night, at the exact same time to 47, the chains rattled. Not wind, not creaks, rattled, as if something below was trying to come up. Part 5, the visitor. She started seeing him in flashes, in windows, in reflections. A man in dark clothing, pale, tall, standing perfectly still. He never approached, never moved, just watched. One evening, she stepped outside, needing air. Across the clearing by the trees, there he was. Same distance, same stare. She called out. He didn't react. She approached slowly. Her flashlight flickered. When she reached the spot, nothing. Just tall grass swaying. She turned back toward the house and he stood in the window of the second floor. She screamed. When she entered, the house was empty. The upstairs window was open. Her laptop, untouched, now displayed a document she hadn't opened. Words appeared. You're not alone. Part 6, Hollow Creek. Samantha walked down to the actual creek for the first time. It was still. No frogs, no birds, just silence. The water was dark, unmoving. Trees crowded the bank like watchers. As she stood there, a low murmur rose like many voices whispering underwater. A single sentence rose above them. She belongs to us now. She backed away, heart pounding. Something moved beneath the surface like a hand reaching up, then pulling back. A shape reflected in the water, the woman from the old photograph. Eyes missing, mouth open, frozen in scream. When she ran back, wet footprints trailed from the front door to the attic stairs. Part 7, the shadow in her room. Each night became colder. Shadows lengthened even when lights were on. Samantha began sleeping with every lamp burning. But one night, the power went out. Silence fell again. She lit candles, sat in bed, frozen. From the corner of her eye, figure moved across the wall, not in the room, but in its shadow. It paced, stopped, turned, and then slowly its shadow separated from the wall. It slid across the ceiling like ink, whispering, not words, just breath. It hovered over her. She shut her eyes. When she opened them, it was gone, but the closet door now stood open. Inside was the rocking horse from the attic. She never moved it there. Part 8 to 47. Every clock froze at 2:47 a.m. Watches, phone, wall clock, all frozen in time. One night she stayed up, determined to break the loop. 2:46 to 47. Time stopped, and she heard its footsteps, the attic hatch opening, the mirror whispering. This time she followed the sound. Up the attic, past the trunk, to the chain hatch. The chains were broken. The small door stood open. Inside was darkness, endless, moving. She knelt beside it. A voice, low and childlike, said, "Come see what she hid." She slammed it shut, bolted it again. Part 9, nowhere else. She tried to leave, packed bags, started the car. The road kept looping. Every turn led back to the house. She drove for hours. The gas ran low. Night fell. Shadows followed her across the trees. She stopped, walked. Each step brought her back to the iron gate of Miller Road. The house loomed, its lights flickering. Inside, her reflection waited in the mirror, smiling. Part 10, she belongs to the creek. That night, the house came alive. Every door slammed. Whispers filled the halls. Shadows danced. The mirror cracked. 2:47 struck. The attic door opened by itself. From it, the pale man stepped out. Behind him, the woman from the creek. Her mouth moved, no sound, just breath. Samantha stood frozen. They walked past her, into the walls, into the mirror. The lights went out. Morning came. The house was quiet. For sale sign placed again. And in the mirror, deep in the reflection, Samantha watched. She never left. The end.